ladies and gentlemen, Allie, Alec, how's everybody doing?
Hello, how's it going?
Buenos dias, good morning.
Welcome. MedSpa Marketing Insiders. We have a special guest today, Allie. I'm just going to kind of introduce you, like go for it. What do you do? Like, obviously we'll go into what we're talking about today, but give us the listeners a quick rundown of who you are.
Yeah, for sure. So nice to meet everyone. My name is Allie, and I dabble in a couple different things, but I have a little bit of background in social media work, and then my main focus is I am a love, relationships, and dating coach. And I also build female women empowerment communities, specifically in Tulum, Mexico.
Sweet. That is awesome. So Tulum is where she's at. Alec is there as well, which is actually how they met. So unfortunately, it's about 50 degrees outside for me. So I'm super jealous.
I'm actually not in Tulum right now, but I'll be back there in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But yeah, me and Allie met and we did some yoga and talked about everything like this. And also, sorry, I apologize. They're playing some funk music really close by. So if you hear some funk in the background, just ignore it or don't dance to it, whatever you want to do. But yeah, Allie, so you want to kind of go over what it was like going to Tulum and then building the community that you built. What size is your Facebook group now there, and like the community of women, what's it called, and everything like that?
Yeah, those are all great questions. So basically, I'd been backpacking. I was in corporate America for a really long time, almost a decade. And basically what happened, I'm sorry if there's that background noise, there's some construction nearby, but I basically quit my corporate job. I went and backpacked for a year and a half. And then moving around a lot like that, you decide, at some point you want some community, you want connection, you want like friends that aren't, that you're not just meeting for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. So I came to Tulum, and my women's group started kind of unintentionally. I was on a Facebook group, and basically what I did was I talked to a couple girls, and they wanted to hang out. So I invited them to come and hang out with me all at once, because I'm a New Yorker and I like things efficient. So I was like, oh, let me just hang out with everyone at once and see who I vibe with, And so there was just supposed to be me and 2 other girls. And then it dawned on me like, oh, it might be nice to just also be inclusive and invite, a couple other people and see if they want to join. So I just made a post on a Facebook expat group, and like 20 to 30 women responded that they wanted to come and hang out. I was blown away. I couldn't believe the level of response. So I stuck everyone in a WhatsApp chat, and, it ended up growing and growing and growing. Our first meetup, we had like 8 women, and yeah, we've got over 6,000 women in our group, or almost 6,000 women in our group. And that's in about a year. So it grew really rapidly.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I feel like something like that kind of story, particularly in like the medical spa space, a lot of them like to do like Botox days, like Botox Fridays, like they have one day a month where they'll have Botox parties and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think a lot of them would take information like that and be useful. Like, we know how to create and prospect groups, but we're marketers. That's what we do. And I think something like that, like joining other local groups and then utilizing them and building your own kind of local community for these injectionist med spa owners to do stuff like that, like Botox parties and stuff like that.
I actually do Botox parties. So I started this. So I love Botox. I'm a huge Botox fan. I get it. And I, wanted to create an opportunity. For me, it was to create a passive source of income, and I wanted free Botox. So I partnered up with a doctor and I created a subgroup from my women's group, and it was just Botox party group. And I would go in and I would take the WhatsApp link, the group link, and I'd make a little, post in all the groups, including my women's group, but other groups too. And I would just say, hey, like, we're having these Botox parties. I mean, my Botox parties will get anywhere from 10 to 15 women. And, in between, I just I basically feed this doctor leads. I mean, I'm sending him probably 10 people a month. And we just keep growing it by constantly marketing it through Facebook groups. It's really powerful source. But it does even help. You can do it that way, or you could literally structure it the same way I do, where you have your women's group and it's just about women connecting, women supporting each other. And then those women who want to go into the Botox space, they join that subgroup. But one of the things that I have that works in my favor is that I have a really strong brand recognition. Like when I say it's a pretty well-known brand here in Tulum. It's, most girls that come here, they're introduced usually to Tulum Girl Gang. And so when I'm like, oh, like I run the Tulum Girl Gang, they're like, oh, you're Allie. Oh, and that's all of a sudden they feel safe because, that I built the women's group to support them. So there's two angles you could really take with it.
For you, Allie, like how did you, so like I see it now where, you got thousands of members, like that community built now, but like how did you get from like just starting out to like that middle ground? How did you kind of bridge that gap to where you're at now?
So it really I've done a lot of things like trial and error stuff. Like, where do I house my WhatsApp groups? Do I do WhatsApp? Do I do Telegram? I tried this app called Geneva. I got Facebook. Facebook was the one that took off the most. I had WhatsApp also took off, but you have a limited amount of people. You can only have 255 people. So at one point I had 5 WhatsApp groups and I'm like, this is a lot to manage. So I'm in the process of testing Telegram after a failed test with Geneva, which didn't work. It was like a community app that you have to download. But one of the biggest things about it is consistency and, also creating a space where community is possible. So what are other ways that you can bring women together? So like our meetup was crucial in this whole thing because it's like, for us, Tulum, it's transient. People want to connect with other people. They don't want to be alone. People travel and like to meet people. So I create that space. There's a value add there. So what are the value adds from your side that you can add that will support people in wanting to be a part of this, whether it's like a freebie or, a meetup? And again, my meetups are free. Like I've done, them for over a year now. For a whole year, I did them every single Wednesday. Consistency. The other thing is that, like, because of that meetup, because of the groups, people felt that sense of community. The other thing that I think is really important in that space when you're building community is just continuing to get the word out. So constantly sharing it in other groups. You can do a funnel. So I love this. You could do a funnel on your Facebook page. So basically you make a banner on your, the long, big photo on Facebook, and you put, hey, get access to my free private group for women community, or for Botox parties, whatever you want to market it as, or, and then in the comments or like in the description area, you have the link to your WhatsApp, your Facebook, all of those things. And then it's just one more thing. And then every day you can go ahead and just add, 30 to 60 people, a couple at a time. Don't do it all at once. And then they see your page, and then that's like a nice funnel to get them into the group.
Okay. And then what's like, we talk about like kind of lead magnets, like what's the value of people joining this group, for instance?
Well, if they're in so from a marketing standpoint, like you're not going to hit someone up once and then that's it, you get the deal. You need to have multiple touch points. That's in any marketing and sales. They say in sales to sell a deal, you have to hit like 8 to 12 touches. It's a lot. So, maybe it pulls them into like they're not going to buy from you unless they like you and trust you. They need to like you and trust you. So you can build trust through having just community event. Let's just say you did it once a month. That builds trust. Having them in the Facebook group or a WhatsApp chat, you can market in that chat. They see you multiple times. You're like, you're creating recognition for yourself. So that's why you want them all in one spot. You leave it to them just being on your Facebook or just on your Instagram. they have the algorithm. The algorithm is going to create problems for you because they only show your stuff to like, I don't know, what is it, like 1% or 10% or something absurdly low. So you spend all this time building them into your Instagram. They only see part of your stuff. So that's why I love the Facebook group or the Instagram or Facebook or sorry, the Facebook group or the WhatsApp chat or the Telegram chat gives you more visibility.
Yep. And you can control. Yeah, go ahead, Alec.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something that we talk about a lot. It's like it's great to have really good content on your page and to be building it that way. But a lot of times you go to, like, let's say when we were working with a new client, and they'll be wanting to ask questions about content and stuff like that. Like with our advertising, we're reaching like tens of thousands of people a month. And with a post on Facebook, if you have, let's say, 500 likes on your Facebook page, you might reach 50 to 100 people out of that if you have 500. So the content is good, but on the other end of it, if you're not creating content that one either goes viral, like some of the stuff that you create, like some of the content and the fun stuff that you do that I was showing Caleb beforehand, that we were like laughing. But other than that, so like if you're not going to create content like that, you're not going to create groups, then you have to do paid advertising. But if you can do all three, then you're basically using the algorithm to get you out in front of more people. You're utilizing your local community and building your own community. And then also you're utilizing paid advertising to get in front of very specifically more people that are in your target niche or your target market.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one thing with you, Allie, I've seen just obviously a little bit of your content, but it's really funny. Like it's tailored to your niche. It's just funny. Like it's a funny spin on relationships and all this other things. Like for me, I would kind of translate that to this group. It's like, okay, how can you be a little bit different than the other person marketing the same product? Like let's say Botox, for example. Like how would you, if you had a med spa, like how would you spin your type of content to make that entertaining or educational or funny?
So here's my process, and I love this process. I love making content. I don't love photos so much, but I love reels. And you've probably maybe heard this somewhere, through the chitter chatter, but reels, you got to get on it. And the reason why is because your reach is so much higher. You can get anywhere from 1,000 views plus, where your photos aren't going to make that same level of reach. For me, again, I used to hate making content. And the way I started liking making content is by having fun with it. Like I watch my videos and I laugh at them. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. It's just fun and funny. But what I do is I go to the Reels page. There's like a button that just shows you Reels. And once I look at the Reels, I just go through and I just pick the ones I like. Oh my gosh, look at this little puppy here. Hi, baby. So I go through and I pick the Reels I like. I just save them. I put them all in one little saved folder of like, okay, this is really funny. I look for trending sounds. Trending sounds is really important. It will favor you in the algorithm. And then once I have like a little handful of stuff, I'm like, this would be easy to do. This would be funny to do. Then I go through and I just brainstorm on each one. I'm like, okay, well, what could I say about relationships on this one? And I might think of like 3 or 4 different taglines, and I just pick my favorite one until the one comes up that aligns with my niche. So, I might feel a little uninspired. I'm like, I can't really figure out the right thing that's going to hit. And so what I'll do is there's a button under that specific reel where you can go and see what other people have posted. That might be like a really good, funny thing. And so that might give me inspiration. If I am still struggling with inspiration, I'll sometimes type in things like common thing. I'll go to Google and I'll type in common things that, people hate about relationships. And just to give me like inspiration for a topic. So I can find something. The goal is finding something that's very relatable to people, where people are like, oh my God, like I can relate to that. And that's why it's funny.
Yeah,
That's actually probably extremely good advice. I mean, I haven't even thought about that, about how I didn't even really think about reels as far as like content that something. I mean, of course, I make stuff like that, but it's completely different. But for like med spas and like body contouring and all that stuff, that type of advice on like content creation, I think could probably work really well because there's all these different like reasons why people want to do Botox, think bad experiences with Botox, benefits of Botox, reasons why people are scared of doing it, for lip fillers, for body contouring or whatever. And if they're able to like make some fun content out of it, I feel like not only would it give their page more reach as far as who their content is reaching, but also people want to work with people they like, right? And if you make funny videos and you can make good content, it's really easy. It's a lot easier for somebody to like you through the internet. Like something we even talk about is like when you're dealing with like online leads, let's say, you're taking somebody that maybe wants Botox but doesn't know you and doesn't maybe know anybody that's worked with you. So they have to know, like, and trust you in order for you to come in. So it's a process. And I feel like stuff like that, making fun content, making like informational content, and then having it reach more people, like gives people almost like a relatability with you.
Yeah. And honestly, if I owned a med spa, what I would do is I would go on Instagram and I would go to the hashtag funny Botox memes, or like Botox memes, or funny Botox. There's a ton of really funny content out there that you can repurpose into a reel where people are just poking at the concept of Botox, poking at the types of people that get Botox. And it's like, you could just make it like you play on that, and it makes it. And so, yeah, you can, it's, take a look at that. There will be a ton of content in that hashtag that will support you in finding clever reels.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm very practical. It's like, okay, what kind of content? Like I have a lot of specific questions that I want to ask you, Allie. But it's like, how do you, like, one thing for me, it's like think about the biggest myths for Botox, for example, or med spa, or like whatever it is for you, like relationships. The biggest myth. I know you create a lot of content around the myths of like relationships. I think that's just a dead giveaway. Like that's an easy target to create content around what people think is a myth within your industry, like aesthetics, for example. I think
Myths
that's an easy low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, like the one thing that comes up for me, I'm like, there's like a ton of clips on there about like with like Kim Kardashian and like, her voice of being, and they'll say something like, like, I don't know. I'd have to look, like I'd have to really sit down and like go through it, but you could use like a Kim Kardashian clip talking something about poking at Botox, or like somebody, I don't know. I'd have to look. But it's once you sit down at the computer and you look at some of the, you could even like those Botox memes, they poke at Botox, and they talk about myths of Botox. So it'll give you really great inspiration for sure.
Yep. Yeah, so I had a question. I think you already answered it. I was going to ask, like, what kind of content? Because everybody's like, video, is it video? Is it images? Is it reels? Is it Instagram TV? Like, what kind of content? And I think you answered it. For you right now, you would do reels.
I do a combo. So I think that the algorithm, like if you do photos, do a swipe photo, because that gets it better. That gives you better spot in the algorithm. I do one photo, I do one reel. I do one photo, I do one reel. And that's just my scheme. It helps with the aesthetics of my page. I do like taking photos, so I do like posting them. But the reels are obviously way more fun and they get more reach. So, but I like to have a little bit of a balance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you had a reel that I was checking out this morning. It has 231,000 views.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your total page followers is 10,000, and your reel got 231,000 views. So
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot. Most people when they're posting reach, like I said, 50 people out of the 500 people that follow them.
Yeah, you just need one to pop. You get one to pop, and this one was so stupid. It's I talk about dating a lot, and it's basically me. It's a song that says, "Leave me alone, please leave me alone," and it sounds like you're banging on a pot. So it's literally me just banging on a pot. And I have a little caption, and all it says is, "This is my vagina talking to myself, or me talking to my vagina when it's when I want to have sex with a guy on the first date, right? Saying you shouldn't have sex on the first date." And people found it very funny, and it's been just growing, and I've gotten a couple hundred followers just from that one video. And the one thing I will tell you that I think is really important to know about the reels, you got to just you hear this a lot, be authentic, right? Well, what does it mean? You got to not care about looking silly or stupid. And the more I do it, the easier it gets, because I do have some insecurities around what people think of me. We all do, right? That's very normal. I had a family member lash out at me for posting a little bit more of this edgier content. And so those little things come up, and it's like I have a little bit of an internal fear that's well, what if I look stupid? Well, what if my whole family is talking about me behind my back because I'm posting this edgier funny silly content. And the thing is, you have to get out of your head. If there's any doubt or worry or stress, just push through it, push past it, because it does get easier to be more authentic in front of the camera and in front of your audience. But you're going to need that in order to have some of those videos pop.
Yeah, just more at bats. It sounds like get through it. Cause I mean, I think about it. It's I've done obviously not as much content as you have, of course, but I still have friends and family reach out what is this content what is the purpose, why are you doing this? And it's people that I used to go to college with, I grew up with. But the way I think about it and the way I personally get through it, it's okay, if people aren't hating on what I'm doing and the content I'm producing, it's not unique enough. So it's whenever somebody gives me some type of negative feedback or haters or whatever you want to call it, I'm oh, okay, I'm doing something right. That's the way that I internalize it. I'm oh, okay, this is a little edgy, this is a little bit different. I just use it as a sign to continue, push forward.
There's a book called Expert Secrets, which is an incredible book. I love this book. One of the things they talk about is this. They say that your content, your message, it needs to have a little bit of it needs to be a little polarizing, but it can't be too polarizing. So it's you don't necessarily want to be out there promoting that the world is flat, too polarizing, unable to relate, right? But just a little bit of edge where you are going to have some people being nope, nope, nope. That is right where you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, especially in this industry, the cosmetic, the aesthetic industry, it's everybody's so put together and buttoned up and perfect. They just want to be perfect. But it's if you can show some behind the scenes and insecurities, I really think that's where you can differentiate yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that over time, that me personally, the more that, of course, people that don't know my background, I went to school for engineering and I was a sailor, and that was my background. So kind of shifting from that and then getting more into what I'm doing now. There was a lot of a lot of negativity and hate on the way, but I mean, that's not that's not what's going to happen if you're a med spa owner and you're making some funny content. That's not what's going to happen. But now my content is really authentic, I think, for me. It's I think a good view into who I am. A lot of people say that by the time they meet me, if they've looked at my Instagram, they have a good idea of what I'm like. So I think that type of thing, when you're posting just pictures and they're for example, a lot of med spas, and we kind of do this for our ads, but we'll just post a generic picture, maybe put some graphics on it and do whatever, but it's not them speaking, it's not them doing something funny. So you have no real view into what the actual person is like. And I think that anybody that goes to a med spa, especially if you want to stick around for a while and stay as a customer for a client for a long time, you want to have a good idea of what that person's like what that injectionist is like, or what that body contour sculptor is like, or what that laser or esthetician is like. And I think that that's probably really excellent advice that I think a lot of the people in this group would take that advice and start making reels. Also, if you do, start tagging us and tag Allie maybe. And like, I want to see what y'all come up with.
It.
Yeah,
yes,
I want to see what y'all come up with.
You know what? Let's even do this. Anyone who's watching this, little homework assignment. In the next 48 hours, which is plenty of time, by the way, make your first reel. Do a reel. Tag the three of us. Alec you'll put my Instagram in there, yeah.
Yep.
So that they can access.
Yeah, your Instagram.
Yeah, I'm insideout.traveler. Tag us so we can see what you're working with. We can give you some feedback on it. And then one other thing that just came up that I really think is important to share is you want to build authority. That's one of the biggest things you want to focus on. With my reels, I don't just post the reel and then not post anything below. I always post something educational. And it's about being vulnerable. So you'll see a lot of my posts talk about where I was in my 20s when it was about when I was dating, and all my challenges and all the fears that came up and all the issues that I had faced. Small, not really deep, but enough to just share like vulnerably, so that humanizes me. And then I share where I'm at now, or like what I did to shift to help me. So it can either be before and after. It can be more of just like an educational. It could be, before and after about clients, like, where they were before they got Botox and how, they were struggling with, say, certain insecurities or whatever, and how they're feeling after, to help make the content more relatable, and also to help you build authority as like an expert in your space.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's like that was one of our questions I actually had written. It's like, okay, yeah, you make this funny thing, but like, how do you convert it into business, or like, how do you convert it into paying clients? But it's like, that's the long-term goal. It's like, okay, first step is getting the reach out there, like growing an audience, growing a community, which you've done very well. Second is like building trust. It's like 8 different touch points before they really know, like, and trust you and are able to purchase from you. Because that's what everybody's going to say. It's like, okay, but like, what is this content going to do for me? Like, everybody's selfish. Like, we're all there. It's like, but the goal is to build a community that supports itself. And you do that through content and trust. And like, that's only built over time versus like, okay, yep, this new follower, like, how do I monetize them immediately? That's the wrong way to really think about it. So, I challenge you as you're going through this, like the 48 hour challenge. I like it, Allie, with, tag us, but
I think I'll add something to that. If they do it, if they create a reel within 48 hours and tag us, I'll send them 30 days of content that they can post on their page, but only if they actually make a reel and tag us.
All right. So 48 hours. I love it. 30 days of content. I appreciate that, Alec.
Yeah, so I figured that might motivate some people. That's probably like $500 worth of content. So yeah, it's all you have to do is post a reel and tag us.
Dropping nuggets. I love it. I literally have notes over here on the side for me personally. Like, I know people got a ton of value out of this. Anything else we missed, Allie? Any other tips or tricks you think this group and community could use?
I think that's it. I think the other piece to it, it's all mindset stuff, right? It's really just recognizing that it's a process. You hear about these one-hit wonders, these overnight successes. Do not compare yourself to them. It takes time to build an audience. It takes consistency. There's going to be days you don't feel like doing it. There's going to be days where you're like, what am I doing? You might hit plateaus. And the people at the top, Like, you don't see all of the challenges, all of the struggles, all of the time, all of the effort that they've put into it. You just see that they're winning. And so we're like, we want that. And we forget that there's all this other stuff that's involved. So when you hit those hiccups, when you hit those challenges, when you hit those days, you just don't feel like doing it. You know, I have this little mantra that I love, and it's sit up warrior. It's time to do the work. And it keeps me motivated to just keep going, trusting in the process, and not letting myself get in the way. Just keep going.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's.
I guess that's no, Caleb, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, go for it.
No, I don't even know why I even started talking.
You just wanted us to hear the jam band in the back, make everybody jealous.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got the funk. We got the funk here.
I don't even remember what I was going to say, to be honest with you.
I was basically just going to ask if like how people can find Allie and how they can get connected and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure. So here's what I'll tell you. If you want to get connected to Girl Gang, which again, you can see what the community looks like. You can get a little bit of a taste of it. We're www.thegirlgang.co. Check out the website, check out, you know, the different groups. If you sign up as a free member, you can get access to all the links so you can see how I connect with people, what I've created. If you want to check out Instagram and see what, you know, I'm up to on Instagram, see my reels, see how I do it. It's really good to study and see what other people are doing to get inspiration for yourself. And so I'm insideout.traveler. That's a period, not the word dot. Insideout.traveler. So that will be my Instagram. And if you have any questions, just feel free to message me. Happy to support. If you have any relationship, love, or intimacy questions, also feel free to reach out. Happy to support. You know, they had mentioned, you know, the community is mostly women, and I really believe highly in women supporting women and rooting for each other and wanting to see each other win, because there's space for all of us to win, right? So just know you're supported. And it's been an honor to be here, connecting and sharing. And so thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Allie. We'll drop all of her. Anna, appreciate for watching. Justin, thank you as well. We'll drop all of her info in the comments. 48-hour challenge. Let's make it happen. Tag us. If you do it within 48 hours, Alec will shoot you over some, what do you say, $500 worth of content. So yeah, let's make it happen. And this is just to kind of get the ball rolling. It's really, you know, we know it works, like Allie knows it works, but we have to kind of incentivize people to really get out of their comfort zone and create the content and really push through those barriers. Alec, anything else before we wrap up?
No, but video is king. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's all I got. I've been making videos for a long time though, so I know what it's like to feel uncomfortable being in front of the camera and then slowly get more comfortable over time. Like now, I remember I was even talking to like Robert about this recently. He's like, how are you so comfortable just like making videos? And I was like, experience. I did it a lot, so it's just natural now.
A lot of failing and re-recording and just hitting record. Like I forgot who said it, just hit record. Like that's the simplest way to do it. The more at bats, the better you'll get at it. I mean, that's the same thing with anything in life. Cool. Allie, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And obviously good luck with everything. We'll drop her comments or her Instagram, her website, all that in the comments. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, we'll be doing more of this content, interviewing people in different industries to give you kind of a different look and feel of really what's working across the board on social media. It could be completely random, but hopefully you got value. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.
All right. Take care, guys.